banks were allowed to charge a 5 rand fee on all bonds. And that fee was there to cover any losses due to the risk factor.
Gotcha.
So from 1990, there was a fee available or paid to banks to charge black people and white people the same interest rate. Now, to charge a black people, say 3-4% more than a white people, and I've got plenty of evidence to prove this, it is absolutely crazy, because there's so much so-called risk factor that they are talking about. From 1994, most of the people that got bonds were government employees. They got a subsidy from the government for their house. Their monthly installments went off straight from their salary. Now, nobody can tell me where is the so-called risk that they always come back to, And that is one way of discriminating. The other one that I found out, and that was more related to First National Bank, is that when the interest rate comes down in a decreasing phase, and I'm referring now to 1998, 99, when the interest rate was up to 25%, and there was a big decrease in interest rate. And they, at some decreases, they did not decrease the interest rate of low-cost housing. And I've got evidence, internal documentational evidence, that says, for example, the interest rates on all mortgage bonds are coming down. Excluded from this decrease is low-cost housing.
Why?
Well, the only thing that is profit-related. There's nothing else that is profit-related. I've got people here. I've got a Mr. Simon Michaels, which I'm referring now to the Stellenbosch Legal Clinic. He signed a bond in 1996 with Sambo, but at that stage, Sambo was taken over by FNB. After 21 years, the amount that he applied for was, if my memory serves me correctly, was 65,000 rand. At present, he owes the bank, after 21 years, 71,000 rand. The overcharge on his mortgage loan was 230,000 rand due to the fact that FNB did not decrease his interest rate at decreases of the repo rate or the bank prime rate. And this is what's happening. And Mr. Michaels at the present moment is paying about 50% more on his monthly installments due to discrimination. And I've got evidence of 32,000 clients on low-cost housing, which data leaked from FNB to me. So I can say that is so. I cannot say that it's definitely with ABSA Bank and with Standard Bank, although I see it, because I haven't got that database to make a statement like that.
But if we have to look at the general banking sector, Emerald, and not specifically paying to mind to FNB, as you're saying, but just a general banking sector, has it been racially profiling people for I mean, as you say, 1990, the decision was made that all interest rates are the same. But after that, 1994, we're finding that across the board, the financial services sector have had it in for black people.
Of course. I'm going to show you excellent, and this changed to motor vehicle finance.
Yeah.
I was phoned by a manager of Westbank that informed me that Westbank is discriminating against black people. I then went on social media and I requested black people with vehicle finance with Westbank to send me their contracts. I was shocked to see that some of them are paying up to 19%. Prime rate at that stage was about 10%. 19% where white people, the maximum I could see was prime plus 2. That is 12%. And I was then interviewed on various radio stations. Westbank was invited. And by the way, Westbank is part of First National Bank. Westbank was invited to take part in the discussion. They refused. Then they put on social media that how interest rates gets determined is, first of all, it's credit worthiness. Now let's talk about credit worthiness. If you got a slight dent on your credit record, you will not get a motor vehicle finance. You can forget about that. So all people that presently got motor vehicle finance is credit worthy. That's point number one. The other point they said is affordability. Now let's discuss affordability. The law is clear that when you buy a motor vehicle, your monthly installments cannot be more than 30% of your salary. So everybody that's got a motor vehicle finance account or loan account can afford it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have got it. Now, why is it that some people pay 19% and others pay 12%?
Welcome back to Bedroom Convos. I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy Waddy Port, aka Shoot Your Shorty, baby. You might get a chance to call me Daddy like I would. Listen, if you are a fan of Port, stay tuned because you might like what we're cooking on today's episode. And before we start on today's episode, I'd really like to apologize to you guys for the inconsistency. I know I was supposed to drop an episode yesterday, Monday's episode, but I didn't drop it. I've been, no excuses as always, but, I'm trying to do better from my end. There's a lot that's been going on, it's been a lot that's been going on social media. Let's talk the summers, talk the summers. I saw everything that was happening on the summers. I wasn't looking at the summers. It's never been my thing, I don't remember when was the last time I even watched the summers. I think the last time when I watched the summers, it was the year before. You remember there was a scandal of Nasty having to buy awards, and Reiki went on social media to put all those things there to say some labels, Mabala Noise. After that, before that Mabala Noise saga, I think that's the last time I watched proper summer award. I think even the last one that I remember though, I think it's when Big Nas was performing Umdilo. I think that's like the last summers that I remember, So, but to answer your question, I'm not a fan of summers. I do like music, a lot of music. I write my own material as well, so I do appreciate good music. And I think sometimes, commercially, you might find something, it's nice, it's for the streets. And I think, let me just go off topic for a bit, but it's not really off, but it's off. So I think, what I love about piano, it's music was starting. I would give music was strata brag, and it doesn't need for a commercial, in piano is piano, and when it slaps, it slaps. And the beauty about this is that when it slaps, the streets will always back it, regardless of who's making it. There's that kid who goes by the name of Sizwe 11, who made the Habibi song. That kid who made that song, he's not a big or an internet sensation. So sorry about that. He's not an internet sensation. But I find Ubuti, because the streets really enjoyed, and he really pushed the song, by the way, and we were supposed to have him on the podcast, because he was one of the people when I was looking to side artists, I was looking and listening to his beats. He has like very amazing music. I think from a year back, I wanted to work with him in collaboration as far as like the record label that I have. I wanted to sign him, but it never happened, and now he's a bit big. But I still want to get to a position where I open doors for people like him, and and eventually become powerhouses like Pornisa and ABSA and, you name them, Wozala Tukzini and all of the guys, shout out to all of them. And for those of you who didn't know, like, you remember there was a whole thing, Yoguti ABSA, who came with piano, where did piano start, and it was concluded, or that MFR souls are the ones, the originators, from K1. I think MFR souls, they're from K1, right? So they are the originators. And I think on that interview, they just, they templed it, they put a stamp on it to say, we are the originators of Amapiano, this thing, we the one, who came with it. Even though ABSA did say, they lock drum, I had to lock drums from that guy who's from wherever he is from. But I remember that interview with him, which said, I lock drum, from Montana, and, I started building because I liked that, and Namachent, we were sharing music. That he said that's ABSA. And J came through, Angelique came through and said, no, like, honestly, people don't know the history of piano and where it started. You need to go and ask MFR Souls, because they are the ones who came with the song, And I think it's Mr. Jay-Z Q, the podcast, they did mention Uguti, yeah, because Jay-Z actually asked them, Uguti, guys, there's a lot in the streets that's being said about the piano and the origination. That's if even a word. I don't know if that makes sense. That's if that makes sense. That's okay. What was happening there? I don't know what was happening, but they are going back to the issue of piano. Angelique came through, asked the question, and they did say, we are the ones. And the video, I think it trended, and I'm not big on social media, so I'm not piles on or piles, I don't know, do they say piles on everything that's happening in social media? But I did see snippets of them, like at meeting, we are the ones, the originators of Amapiano, the MFR Soul guys, they did. And Angelique seems to support them, and a lot of people were embracing, okay, let's just give them flowers, give MFR Souls flowers, And I really like where everybody is taking the music or the genre sonically. And I'm not a big fan of awards even. I should put it out there. I'm not really a big fan, because good music is good music. Sometimes what I may think, Uguti, it's dope. Some other person, like the awards, on it, they can be rigged to a degree, you understand? They can be rigged to a degree. So I tend to not follow a lot of that, because I start questioning a lot of the things that happen as far as music. So is it people, or did they buy? Who's controlling the narrative, propaganda? There's that issue or discussion or debate. Yeah, the politics, you would see. No, they bought. Who bought? So I don't really like. Let's just listen to music and have fun. What I love, you love. We get to groove. We do whatever. We enjoy the music. That's it. Like having to have that be competitive in that award level. It's good to have an award. It's good to have a Grammy for recognition, because it's internationally recognized as well. It's good to have that, but when you make good music, bro, you'll always be appreciated anyway. Or if you do quality content, you do quality, or you create anything that is quality, you will find a market for that. I think it's up to you to find a market, and if you do find the market, or the market will find you if you are lucky, and they will fall in love with the thing that you do. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that, opening Uguti, I really like where the guys are taking the piano sound and everything. And I'm sure you are wondering, Uguti, maybe the song of the day might be, a piano song. So the song of the day I really connected with, and you might know, Uguti, like for the past couple of weeks or months, I've been going through a lot emotionally, like trying to find myself, the business. There's been a lot that's going on, and I hope that we can talk about it sometime when I'm free, or like when I'm feeling like talking, or opening myself up to talk to you guys about that side of myself. I still think, Uguti, I want us to talk a bit, I know what I'm offering being a bit. I want us to talk a bit about the vulnerability and how we perceive it as weakness. And I think I'm in the phase where I'm also learning to let vulnerability be my strength. I'm learning that in this phase. I'm in that phase of understanding. I've always known, but I've known that, but I've never understood it, And I think now I'm leaving the phase of understanding what this, vulnerability is not a weakness, can be a strength depending on where you come from or your perspective. I'm in that phase in my life. So yeah, really interesting topic to talk about. But today is not the day. It's not the day. So the song of the day, I know you'll be surprised. The song of the day, I really enjoy it. I don't know if it's a spirit lifter or it. I feel like it's getting me, man. It's getting me, like resonator, man. I don't know how to say it. Resonator, the song. So the name of the song is For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole. It was released alongside the album For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole in 2016. The song is 18 minutes, 50 seconds long. And currently on Spotify, it's sitting on 160 million. It makes sense that it has so many numbers behind it because it really is a lovely song and I really enjoy it. I still listen to the album. I was listening to the album when I was doing the prep for the show. Still, I think it's one of those classic albums that J. Cole has. I can't wait even, you've heard me talk about the Fall Off. I still can't wait to listen to that. And, the Drake Cole thing that's going on now, I think it's crazy. Everybody's killing it. They're going, neck on neck on every verse, is bar for bar, and I really like that. I think it really is, sparking a conversation amongst the hip hop community or amongst the hip hop heads in salons in the US. Like there's a whole culture in the US, but not big this side. But we also have those conversation online where people are talking. I'm talking. I'm in the comments. I think it's good to culture forward, and I really like to see that. And personally, that's the reason I chose for Your Eyes Only, because of that. I did say it resonates with what I'm going through right now. So if you understand, you understand. If you don't, you don't. Moving right along, still going back to the summers. Kelly doesn't win. Shout out to the Summer Award winners. Kelly doesn't win. There was a Bumble won. Shout out to her. I think there's a lot of people that won. Said they won. Did Said they win? No, aka Lemonade won. Over the Said they joined. And someone was saying, the reason I mentioned Said is because someone was saying, given Said they was so big and it was supposed to take that award, which Lemonade took, but Said they still took an award for What's Hot Streams, the category that they made up, so it still took an award. But I still feel to a degree Said they was supposed to get the Lemonade award, but so teeny, it is what it is. Yeah, so going to Twitter, I wasn't on Twitter. This is the news that I got from social. Was I on Twitter? Yeah, I think I was. I'm not really sure. A lot happened. I was going through a lot. So I think I was on Twitter. I saw a lot of the things that were happening, and Kelly Khumalo is trending. Why is Kelly trending? The summer. Kelly is on a rant. He's like effing everybody up to say she should be the one who's supposed to get the award. And everybody's saying, she's crazy. She must first tell us what happened to Senezo. He must first tell us what happened to Senezo. And I'm like, if there's one guy who is fighting in this grave for the murderers, for his murderers, it's Senzo and his ancestors. Those people, 24 hours, they're behind that boy's back. They're behind that man's back. I'm sorry to say boy, but that's what it is. I'm sorry. I apologize to the people that are listening. I believe what his ancestors, man, they're doing. Even him, because he's also an ancestor now. So he's standing up for him. And I'm not saying Kelly is guilty of anything. She might know, she might not know. Only the court will decide, and I'll make my judgment from what the court takes and the evidence and the lawyers. After that entire process, I am not in a place to judge anyone. I have mistakes, I have flaws of myself that I need to rectify and look at and mind my own business. By the way, I do have my side as well, I understand. So it's unfair that we are doing that to her, given that the trial is not even over. It's an ongoing thing. And people were saying, she's sick, she must tell us that. But at the same time, I'm like, well, we don't really know. Why don't we let the court do the ruling and everything? And instead of punishing someone who is not, a part or who doesn't know what happened, because we all don't know. It's all assumptions of what might have happened. I don't have all the facts. Anyone who's listening to the podcast, we don't have the facts of what really happened. You know what I mean? So that's my point. She was saying that, I don't know what she was supposed to take on the awards. I'm not a Kelly fan at all. And not because I hate her or I'm one of the people that are anti-Kelly movement. No, it's just the music preference that I have. It doesn't align me with the music that she makes. So that's the only reason that I don't listen to Kelly. It's not because I hate, I'm sure she's a beautiful soul. I know someone who knows Kelly Khumalo personally because of the business relationship with DC Denji Kaken. People who know that I've been working for Denji Kaken, they know what Kelly was once upon a time an ambassador for the shoes of Denji Kaken, and she was behind that brand for the longest time. So, they do say she's an amazing person, and, I hope she is, man, and for her case, and hope that she gets better. And I think for a lot of the details about what's going on with Kelly and everything, I think it's fair enough for us to go to a break. For those of you who just joined us, I am your host, Lesego M, Daddy Report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. When we come back after the break, we will touch on a bit on the issue that the summer Kelly thing that's going on social media. We'll also talk about the bankruptcy thing that's going on, the currency shandies that's going on currently, and people are saying Zuma was innocent and Zuma had the point. We'll talk about that when we come back after the break. It's me, your host, Lesego M, Daddy Report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy Nakaru. Let's meet after the break. Cheers.
The question, in the transformation agenda of this economy, where is Lesego M and his team? Except parroting Trevor Manuel and his 1996 plus project, what new ideas have they come up with to transform this economy? And all my critics are, we take it personal. He takes it very, very personally. I know these people who come and call us liberals. What is liberal about this or that? Very arrogant. Very arrogant. Doesn't want to be criticized. And it's part of the problem in South Africa. When somebody is our favorite, they are holy grains, untouchables. They could do no wrong in our eyes. Report nonsense about perfected transaction. No. There must be a loophole, a regulation that they have used. After all, they are so holy. Holy by foot. The VBS that was keeping savings of rural black women in the hinterlands of Limpopo was not good enough a bank for the Reserve Bank to save. Uncle for scarcity will be all over the show here. But after the lifeboat to buy all sorts of rubbish. No, these are rural women. They need their savings, but let them eat cake. Or about jelly pussy or Limpopo. About jelly pussy, let them eat pumpkin. That's the kind of reserve bank that we have here. And the people was asked the question, what are you going to do as a reserve bank to change the banking landscape? Is there a plan, Lesego, to change the banking landscape now? Or you are happy to launch new coins Or hey, by the new coin. What's a copy? Who needs a new coin? Hey, by the new bank no to live coin is a song and dance. Hey. When I'm launching a new bank, a black bank, Nigeria in the same period that you have been governor, launched 40 banks, 40. Without letting one in one hand, the bank that alone. The Reserve Bank just taking a gun and shooting themselves in the foot, the credibility they've built over years, flushing it down the toilet on the altar of political expediency. But the fault is yours and mine. Because once you got a government that can be trusted to make sure that institutions such as the Reserve Bank, SARS, Public Protector, etc. remain independent, and that the people who are there, who are somehow beholden to the ruling party, beholden to the president, have become too afraid to exercise their minds, the minds for which they were appointed to lead those institutions. You know, it's time to change the guard and bring a government that can recognize that those institutions are meant to support democracy and strengthen democracy and not be beholden to rubbish. Perfected transaction, my foot, man. Just recently, the Reserve Bank put a black insurance company called 360 Global on curatorship for 24 months. But no, your liquidity is what, which is rubbish, is because it is just too much to stomach that a black company can go and dominate in a white-dominated insurance sector. And the Reserve Bank as a prudential authority is conspiring to kill that company. Very few companies are put under curatorship survive. Instead of guiding them, holding them by the hand, ensuring that they give them the support so that now you can have a success story of a black company that they succeed. They don't even talk to them for months. Even I suspect they don't even remember why they put them on curatorship in the first place. No. You are unfair. Yeah, let them come and explain themselves. We have been asking the governor to come and talk to us for years, man. I mean, in this period that we have been asking, we have spoken to the president twice, president of this country. The Reserve Bank governance is too big to talk to small people like us and explain these things. Why is it that we feel so vulnerable under the banks? Because they don't seem to have a supervisor in that sector who says, hey, you better transform or ship out. No, it's not our business. I'm sure he can come here and tell you how much. That's not our business. For now, our business is just raise interest rates and target inflation. It's sad that today I have to say, the Sida Kaya, you have let me down to take an institution for which so many South Africans trusted and just rubbish it over politics. That report of yours is rubbish. You should have said in a simple way, so South Africans, because it's the message you are sending. If you have currency, foreign currency, within 30 days you must declare it. Don't tell us stories. No. Think about the Sambeto. I'm moving from a safe into a couch. I mean, what? And then nobody says, but that's why we're grey listed. We're grey listed because the world doesn't trust that your systems, even of your central bank, can be trusted. Nobody can blame that. Go and look, Google, anywhere where they link their grey listing with the Reserve Bank and its quality. No, you'll never find that. It's after all a holy grain. Not anymore.
Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy Waddy Poet, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy. Like I wanted to laugh when I was doing that intro because I'm always saying, when they say it's time to go, I'm always like, welcome back, so it always kills me every time when I'm supposed to do that. So I was going through that in my mind, Gucci, wow, we've reached so many episodes, and I'm having fun doing this, And despite whatever that's crazy and going on in my life, man, I still find, my podcast or our podcast, one of the places where I find peace. You know what I mean? So yeah, for those of you who just joined us, I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy Waddy Pod, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. On the clip that you just listened now, it's happening. I know we are supposed to touch on the Kelly thing, and we did touch it when we spent the past second talking about it. And now I want us to talk about the clip that you just heard now. And I apologize. I'm supposed to give credit. Apologies for that. I'm supposed to give the credit to the guy who was saying everything in that clip. But I realized, I didn't write the name of the guy. That's like plagiarism, I did. But I promise, I'll do better. And next time I'll write in the details of everything. And, what I'm doing is very raw, using his content in our podcast. But, I wanted to bring value into the podcast, and he had more insight than I did. And I have little to no knowledge about what's going on in politics and the banking world, in the banking facet of everything that's happening of faculty, if you may. I don't have a lot of knowledge, and I rip them off for sure. I'm guilty of it, and I apologize, and if it comes a day where he comes back and says, oh, this guy was doing this, my content, I do apologize, my guy, and I'll try to put your name in the description, just so you can get credit for the work that you did and giving us, as the listeners of the podcast, and I want us to talk about it, man. Listening to him speak about how the rent, he was talking about the rent. For those of you who don't know, he was talking about the rent and how the banks made close to, he was saying the banks are accused. This is what he said. He was saying the bank, not he, the news were covering this. They were saying, the banks are accused of manipulating the rand, and they made something over R1 trillion, and the UK banks are also sued for 46 million rands, which is little to nothing for them given the exchange rate. So it's nothing for them. They can just close that, Fun fact about this, he did mention on the video, if you were listening, he was saying, the CEO of ABSA, the CEO of ABSA is the wife of Trevor Manuel, who was then the Minister of Finance, manipulating the rand and sleeping in the same bed and not talk about it. It's satanic. If you really cared about the state of the country and this is what your wife is doing, manipulating, and he's still chairperson of the CIPC, CIPC, I'm not sure, but is it IPC? Is it IPC or something, a company? I did mention on the video. And I'm like, well, there's just a lot of corruption that's going on, and I myself, I am not a fan of politics, I should say, which I'm not a fan of politics. And it goes to show again, us being ignorant to the fact of the things that are happening. The fact of the things that are happening. English is that, but it is what it is. So me not paying attention to everything that's going on, I feel like I'm losing touch with reality or whatever that's happening in Mzansi. Because whatever you say, I don't remember. There's a Zuma clip. I listened to the Zuma clip that came from, I think, Setu was covering it on their channel as well. Shout out to Zetu. Sorry. I confused Zetu to Setu because Setu is the friend of the podcast, and Zetu, she is the social media journalist that you see on TikTok. So Zetu was covering the Zuma clip, and I was like, when was this made? Which world have I been living? Which rock have I been living under? Because I don't remember a time where Zuma was talking about, the rand manipulation Fikile Mbalula, the Rupert, and how they are going to collapse the economy there. And I'm like, wait a minute. So she said that in a briefing, and I'm like, oh God, like, it's a lot for me, it's a lot to take in at this moment, because I am in a position where I don't really have much to talk about or any comment. I'm clueless as to what's going on. How do you even manipulate the rent? I think McG, if you watched or listen to the podcast, you would know he did ask the same question. I don't know, I saw snippets. I didn't watch the show, so they might have answered him on the question of how do you manipulate the rent, And I'm like, well, this is a lot for me to take in. On top of that, I was listening to JJ Dawan. She was also covering the same thing, and she was the EFF. She was on the EFF spirit. You understand? Like, he was on the EFF spirit. See, he was mad. Basically, he was mad about everything that EFF was saying. And I was like, oh, actually, this man is speaking facts. Like, everything that he was saying is fact. And something popped up very unique. He was saying Lesego M, who is the finance minister, if I'm not mistaken. Lesego M, he is the finance minister, and he is, yes, of course, related to LKG, Lerato Kganyago. I think he's the uncle of Lerato Kganyago, but that's besides the point, though. Lesego didn't do anything besides introducing the coin. He was saying, we see the coins, but outside the coins, what did you do? The same in the same period, or yes, the same period, I should say period. In the same period, Nigeria opened up 40 banks, and he was saying, why don't you, open up Black Bank? They were saying, even again, I think this was Son who was covering this, these guys are actually charging more interest to middle class, to the middle class. They are charging them more interest on the loans that they are taking. And I'm like, how does that work? Like, sometimes even the lawyer at this country, man, I don't think being fair, and like, we need to put in more emphasis on Mulao. I think if we can fix corruption in this, there's a lot that we have to do. But I think the first place to start is corruption. I think that's the first place to start with this. And I'm like, oh, I think JJ Tawani, I think that guy spoke about, I'm thinking even again, Zetu for the input, because clearly, guys, now I don't have any insight. And shout out to Saul as well for his intake, or like his input, oh my God, his input on this, On other news again, Argentina. Speaking of Argentina just declined the BRICS membership and is supporting the US dollar. I don't know what the reason is behind that, why Argentina is supporting the US dollar, but someone was saying Argentina is supporting the US dollar given that the president who they've just elected now is a supremacist, he's a capitalist, and it's all about the bag, and I don't blame his reign, his policies, everything. He runs his country as he sees fit, but there was something, and I'm like, guys, what's going on? Like, to be honest, I've covered a lot of the BRICS, what's going on with the BRICS, the trade and everything. But I'm like, have we achieved anything? Do we need to call in someone who knows something about BRICS to talk to? What's the updates? What's going on? Maybe people are declining because there's nothing, there's no action, there's no progress. What's going on in that? I think we need to get someone to cover us with that. I really think I'm so in tune with everything that's going on that at this point, what I'm going through in life is letting me go through it. Understand? It demands my full attention. It's like life is showing me flames to the point of Nami, I don't even give myself to be free because I'm always on the grind. I don't really have time to do that. But I'm working towards that. I think one place that I need to as a podcaster or a journalist, because we don't really have people that do research. I need to go on and do research. I need to do this, do that. And that's the, I don't know if I could say beauty, but I want to say beauty. I want to say beauty, but someone might not see it as the beauty, but I think it's the beauty in the process to understand every facet of your business. And I think me understanding beauty, the research, the cover art, and the quality of the audio, of the content that you put out, and how I'm growing as a podcaster, the information, the speaking, if you get what I'm saying, And lately, I think even I, myself, Lesego, been thinking ukuthi, like, man, I've been saying things to people, and one thing that frustrates me, ukuthi, when I say something to people, in my mind, this thing makes sense, and I explain it to people, and they still don't get it, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I think this is the sentence where I've ever explained something, I've ever explained anything, but at this point, I don't understand, ukuthi, why are people not getting it? You understand? I don't understand, ukuthi, why. So I'm like, maybe there's still a room to grow or something, because I don't get it. Of which I'm like, I'm open to it, I'm open to improving my communication, because if you can't communicate, you can't really do anything. And yesterday, just to put you a bit in my business, I was in a meeting, a presentation that was being made, and I was listening to the guy who was representing us. I'm like, this guy is so simple, straight to the point. I'm like, in my mind, I'm even better, I think I'm doing a better job. But when I look at people's faces, it doesn't translate as if that's what I've been doing. You understand? The vision that I have in my mind and the response the reaction that I'm getting from people, it's two different things. So I'm like, really, here there's a disconnect. You understand? There's a disconnect. I'm not sure what it is, but I still need to dig deep and find why are people not understanding. And I still feel, when I'm having this conversation with you on the podcast as well, because I'm like, does that even happen in the podcast? I might be saying something that might feel right or sound right in my mind, but people don't actually understand. And maybe that's why they keep on asking, what is he saying? Well, I understand there's a lot of question around that. And I think that's one of the things that I need to sit down and listen to maybe 10 episodes of mine. But it doesn't help, because if I'm listening to myself, I'll always agree with everything I say, because in my mind, that's how it's out. And I think to have someone who's unbiased, someone who's fresh and who can listen without having any biasness and tell me, yeah, this is clear, this is not, this is clear, for 5 episodes. 5 episodes from the 20th percentile, the 10th percentile, and the 30th percentile, and the 40th percentile. Maybe take each episode from those percentiles and get an opinion from those people. What do you think of this episode? Do you see progression? Have I progressed as far as you understanding what I'm saying? Because I'm aware of that, and I'm like, if that's the case, maybe, or not maybe, well, I need to fix it, That's my point, man. That's my point. And I hope that you enjoyed spending time with me, man. I really enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe, follow, and like this episode, and rate it to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. I've really enjoyed spending time with you today. I know I've been inconsistent, but I'm trying my best to, be here each and every day and fight and release more episodes. And I might have an announcement for you soon enough, so stay tuned for that. I'm your host, Lesego M. Before I close it, I want you guys to tell me something. I've listened to Jordan Peterson. I really like the dude from what he says and how he says it, and I agree with a lot of the things that he says, right? And I'm like, I connect with the stuff that this dude is talking about, Jordan Peterson, for those of you who are wondering. And I'm like, this guy, he is what I think, he is who he thinks he is, right? And I'm like, he's a clinical psychiatrist, for those who wanted to know. And I know a lot of people know him, and I really like and admire him, He's very knowledgeable on a lot of things, and I so wish that one day I would be wise as twice as wise as he is. I really like that dude, and to a degree, I want to say I'm a fan, but I'm not drinking because I don't really know a lot about the stuff that he's put out besides the snippets of clips that I've seen on the internet. And from the little that I've heard, I really like him, So the book of the day, I'm giving it to Jordan Peterson. The name of the book is 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson. It was released in 2018, and a lot of people have ranked it 93%, on Google. They've ranked it 93%, of which I think that's a good number. It's a good rating. So on Takeout, 5 out of 5, people are saying it's a good book. On Audible, it's 4.6 out of 5, which is a good ranking. On Goodread, it's 3.9 out of 5, which is also not bad. It's a self-help book, by Jordan Peterson. I think it touches on an abstract ethical principle, psychology, methodology, religion, and personal and antidotes. Personal antidote, what is that? I don't know what it is, but you guys tell me what you think of the book, of if I should go out and read that. Shout out to you for those of you who just joined us on our book club. Just shout out to you, man. The song of the day is by J. Cole, For Your Eyes Only. It was released 2014 alongside the album, which is also titled the same name as the song, For Your Eyes Only. So currently it's sitting at 160 million on Spotify, which is a good listen. Do tell me what you think of the episode. I'm your host, Lesego M, Daddy Waddy Pod, aka Shisha Shorting. Maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Let's meet on another amazing segment of Backroom Convos with Lesego M. Cheers.